right, today I have the illustrious MJ Kuhn here to talk about her brand new book, Killswitch Protocol, which comes out, is it this June or sooner than that?
July, so later
July,
than that.
okay. Okay,
Early July.
I'm close. It's a J month, I'm
It's
close.
summer.
So I wanted to have you on because when we met, I still have my sign Among Thieves back when we met at a scheduled author show at the Barnes & Noble in Seattle. And you flew all the way out to do that, which was really cool. And we met back then, and then you were traditionally published. Now you're doing both, which is crazy. Good for you. So I wanted to hear all about your self-published book and share the cover again, because it's a gorgeous cover.
And it's so pretty. Yeah, my cover artist is Katerina Belikova, and gosh, she just absolutely nailed it. So this is a cyberpunk story, and so basically we have a post-apocalyptic world, sort of near future, like the 2300s. And we are in post-nuclear war, and all of society has clustered into like little city-states. And we are in one called New Avarita, which is ruled by a board and a chairman, and most importantly, an AI that, an algorithm.
There we go.
The algorithm will decide the fate of every person in the world, or in the city-state. So if it determines when they're no longer a productive, producing member of society, and when that happens, they just die. But yeah, they're done. But everyone in this society is in this kind of cult-like brainwashed state where they believe that's a good thing, and they call it ascent. And it's them ascending to the next plane of existence and the sign that they've achieved everything they're meant to achieve. And the story begins with our main character, Liv Spencer, who very much believes in the ascent program and everything that, this kind of cult-like society espouses. But when her husband reaches his ascent under some very suspicious circumstances, she starts to get curious about what it actually is and what is deeper in this whole society. And that's when she falls in with a group of rebels who are looking to destroy what they call the Killswitch Protocol. So cool. That's, in a nutshell, that's the newest book, baby. So fast-paced, lots of action, lots of cybernetics and dark web stuff, and crazy hackers and all kinds of fun cyberpunk romp material.
Exciting. I mean, so many questions. Really, really great idea. It reminds me in an odd way. Do you remember the book The Giver?
I have been saying, this is my quick pitch is, see, I told you my camera does that.
So real quick, audience, we had talked about this beforehand, is that MJ is similar to me. You like to use your hands. Miming is important.
I'm a hand talker.
Her camera will zoom in and out. So today's stream is a dynamic
It is.
stream.
It's dynamic. Yeah. We're going to have random close-ups. I will do my best to just sit on my hands.
I kind of like it. It's entertaining. Like the audience can get in on it. Maybe it'd be a drinking game. So
there you go. Take a drink every time my camera zooms in inexplicably. But no, the comp titles I've been saying is that it's Logan's Run meets The Giver with a splash of Cyberpunk 2077. Is kind of the vibes that I've been giving. Because yes, The Giver was an inspiration for that kind of culty society vibe. So
yeah. Did you end up having that book as required reading when you were a kid, or did you just read it on your own?
Both. So I read it, and then it was required reading later, and I was like, I already read this, because I really enjoyed it. I liked The Giver, except
it's a good book.
I like that scene when he goes sledding and he breaks his leg. That genuinely upset me as a child. So, and I remember it vividly all these years later. So there you go. Yeah. Lois Lowry. Good on you for that scene.
I'm trying to remember, did they make a sequel to that book too?
There's a whole bunch of books.
That's what I
guess
thought.
Maybe not a bunch. There was oh gosh, I read a lot of them growing up, or several of them. I think there's 4. I don't know. I don't think a couple of them are sequels. I think there's just some tie-in stuff in that universe. It's been a really long time, but yeah. Cool stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to go to Half Price Books and try and see if I can find some of them. So, And you held up your book. I want to talk more about the cover. So if you could hold it up even longer. So
Yes.
which characters are on the cover there?
All right. So on the cover here, we have this is Liv Spencer. This here is our badass mercenary character that she runs in with later. His name is Senya Rainme. And then you see here in the corner, this is our third POV character on this holographic screen. This is Raina Arthur, and she is actually one of the members of the ruling board.
Oh,
so
we get to go into their POV?
We get to go into their POV and really see the depths of the inside of this, like, really screwed up society.
That's awesome. Very exciting. Okay. Well, I think I pre-ordered the ebook, but I want the paperback because that cover is like really, really good. I appreciate good covers. And how did the spine and the back look?
Yeah, so here's the spine.
Okay, nice.
And then the back.
Looks great.
And so also, like, there's a bunch of fun, cool graphics and stuff on the inside.
Oh, I was going to ask.
Formatted really cool. This is I worked with Adrian M. Gibson.
Yeah.
He's my co-host on SFF Addicts, but he also, you can hire him, anyone can, for formatting and design of the interior, and he just completely smashed it out of the park.
So he did the interior, those little black and white ones, and then does he do the cover, like, typeface and all that stuff too?
Yep. Yeah, he did the typography on which, if we can get a close-up of that.
Oh, yeah.
Is so cool. So
yeah, that's...
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, I just love going into cover design. So he had the illustration, it's all flat. And then did you give him any idea of what you wanted with the typeface, or did you just kind of let him go for it, or what was the process there?
Yeah, no, it's very collaborative. If you do work with Adrian on it, it's great. He brings a lot of ideas to the table, but basically he was like, hey, send me like a couple examples of fonts that you like for the vibes, or I sent him some font titles. Like, I looked through a bunch of typefaces and found some fonts I liked, and then I sent him some sample cover designs in the cyberpunk space that I really liked. And I told him, I was like, okay, but I like these kind of blocky fonts, and then I really want like this kind of glitch effect on the title text. And so we went through a couple iterations. A few of them I didn't like because it just looked kind of like blurry around the edges and like it wasn't really translating from afar. But then he ended up with this kind of cool like split lines through the lettering, which I think works out really, really nicely. So
yeah. Very, very eye-catching. And then it does that on the spine as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Oh,
it zoomed into the name. Perfect. That's awesome.
Cameras.
I'm gonna take a drink of my iced tea.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh man, that's I love it. I love what they did. I may reach out to him then, because not like the book I have coming out now, I kind of have done the cover and everything, but my next one I will need somebody, so I'm gonna have to reach out to him, especially for that internal stuff. I've been looking for somebody to do that for a long time, and it's been hard to find. So yeah,
100%. Yeah, and he does a really great job at it, and it's such a pain in the butt to do it yourself.
yes, it is.
So I was like, oh yeah, I'll be hiring you for this.
Do you use Microsoft Word for yours, or a different program?
I mean, for the writing of it, yes. I actually have no idea what program Adrian uses for the formatting. He just does the magic and then sends me the files, and I upload them to Ingram
KDP
Spark
or whatever.
and
Ingram
KDP.
Spark. Okay. Yeah.
I was like, okay, thank you.
So did he design when you have the internal ones, did he just do one from scratch, or did he take like an existing part of the cover image to do for that, or like what did he do for those ones? For
the interior images?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So those, I just like told him I wanted like some kind of, for this piece, we worked together on, I was like, I really want those
it does it
circuitry lines.
I didn't notice it did it on top of the chapter too. That's so pro. Oh
and
my
I was
gosh.
like, I want the glitch effect again. So there's the glitch effect on all of the chapter numbers. And then these images are just kind of like, what's the word? Like stock. Stock photos.
that's common for all
but they're
that stuff.
Cool.
Oh yeah, no, it's perfect.
Yeah,
because you can get it's like buying font. Like you can buy licenses for font. It's the same type of thing. Like I was thinking of doing something like that for the next one I'm working on. So
yeah, 100%.
How long did it take you to put this whole book together? Because this is your first self-published one. So it's like, you've got to, like, what was that road like as far as finding an editor and hiring for those bits and pieces that you normally had offloaded for, Among Thieves? Get it now. Great book, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was really... It came together really fast, and I gave myself a lot of time. So I started the process of like looking for a cover artist, looking for an editor. Like I knew I wanted the book to come out in summer, June, July timeframe this year. And I started looking around last October, is I think when I hired my cover artist, and actually I think I hired my editor around that same time. So it's so the cover artist I actually met through the podcast. She has done covers and stuff for a number of other authors that I know. It's just really great work. Ninja Joe Art is her handle on Instagram. So yeah, especially if you're doing anything in the sci-fi space, she does a lot of really cool like robot type artwork and stuff like that. So as soon as I saw her art style and I knew, friends that had worked with her, and I was like, okay, no, this is absolutely the cover artist I want to work with. And so got on her schedule as early as I could. And then my editor is Kat Howard. So I actually know her. I mean, I don't know her. I've never actually met her, but like I internet know her.
That's real these days.
That counts, right? She's a fellow Saga Press author that does editing services on the side, and cool. I really enjoy her books, her work, and so when I saw that she did editing services, I was like, okay, like you know what I mean. I feel like our writing styles are similar. She's gonna get the vibes of what I'm trying to do, and I trust the quality of her writing chops, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up working with her on edits. Honestly, I think I am so grateful to just like the people that I've met in the last couple years, especially since starting to do more author events like the one that we met at in Seattle, and like WorldCon, and then doing stuff like anything I've done through SFF Addicts, the podcast, because it's given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people in the indie pub space, which without those connections, I would not have had the knowledge or confidence to take this plunge. Like, mad respect for anyone who has dipped their toes into the indie pub market without having like the gigantic repertoire of people to call that I had to amass before I was finally like, okay, fine, I think I'm brave enough to do this. But yeah, it all came together pretty smoothly. For me, I got the cover art in like January. Edit was done in January. And, then since then it's just been formatting and trying to hype it up and get my blurbs, which I got my last one that I was waiting on today. So exciting stuff. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's kind of scary because, I won't actually know how it goes until July gets here and it's out. But I hope people like it.
I mean, it looks cool. The plot sounds awesome. I think there's a wide audience for what you're looking for, and I feel like summer does well in the, CyberPunk does well in the summer because, I don't know, I look at that book and I'm like, that looks like a summer read to me. So
just kind of knock it out in a weekend, a beach weekend, lots of reading time.
Yeah, read my quick rom-com and my CyberPunk, good to go. So.
Right.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, having Adrian, how did you guys meet to start your show? Because obviously he wrote Mushroom Blues, which did really well in the indie space and some of the awards circuit there. So huge resource for you. How did you guys get linked up? Because that's his debut book, right?
Yeah. So Adrian and I met actually. So he started SFF Addicts. It was a totally different format at the time that he started it. It was like a panel show. Okay. He started that in 2022. I think. And we met, I was a guest on a panel on that show. It was fun. I did a panel talking about House of the Dragon, and we had the actor that played Syrio Farrell in Game of Thrones was on that panel with us. It was so random, but really cool. But that's where Adrian and I met. And after I was on that panel, he reached out via DM and was like, hey, I've actually been thinking about bringing a co-host on, and like, would you be interested? And I was like, sure. Like, I don't know. Why not? Let's try it. Yeah. So I came on in late 2022. And that's how we met. And we've been, podcast co-hosts ever since. We brought Greta Kelly as our third co-host. We brought her on in 2024 or 2025. Might have been 2025. Regardless. No, it's 2024. Doesn't matter. We brought her on a couple years later. And so now, we were just three peas in a pod. But yeah, and then he released Mushroom Blues in 2024 as well. So I got to see the whole process that he went through in terms of the final edits and prepping it and the cover art and going through the promo cycle and all of that stuff while we were doing the podcast together. So that was a really great resource just to witness, the hustle that goes behind any indie release. And kind of get the tips and tricks from there.
Yeah, especially someone who came out of the gate with such strong market awareness. Like that book was everywhere, the cover was everywhere. So that's a great resource. And I feel like he is, I don't know if he'll appreciate this comparison, but like the Ryan Seacrest of the author space, because he just gets all these like people on his show. And, when you guys came to Worldcon last year, you're having Sanderson and Martin and all this stuff. And it's like, I feel like he gets, all these people. He's very gregarious and outgoing. And so I feel like he just gets after it.
He knows everybody. And like at this point, the SFF Addicts podcast Rolodex goes deep.
You can let him know he is the Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest of the sci-fi fantasy biz.
I like it.
So, with this new book, it's cyberpunk. Your last one was fantasy. It sounds like this is something I was going to ask, is that your world for this book is like our world, but just in the future? Okay.
Yes.
How did you feel it was more comfortable writing in that type of space versus a completely like made up and created universe like your last duology that you had?
Yeah, so this one actually, Killswitch Protocol does still feel very much like a totally created world, because I know that it takes place in what is right now is like southern Georgia, but we never say the word Georgia.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's an entirely fictional city state. It's all like new technology that doesn't exist in our world and stuff like that. So it did feel very super speculative world building still for this one. Although I will say it was really fun if I had like characters that were on like different ends of the city state and they needed to talk to each other, they could just like call each other.
Yeah.
Which was kind of fun coming from fantasy, where you'd have to be like, oh my gosh, are there homing pigeons? Like, how are we gonna accomplish this? And you don't have that particular constraint in sci-fi. I will say some of the stuff I've written recently, so the things that will be coming out after Killswitch Protocol at some point are contemporary settings. So that has been a whole new thing to like, it really cuts down on your word count when you can just say, and then they drove to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's yeah.
So that's totally different. But yeah, it's been fun to play in a space where like technology is the magic. You know what I mean? Versus having a magic system. So that's been fun.
I love it. Yeah, I remember you'd mentioned those other books. I know we had talked a long time ago when you were still developing these books, and you had mentioned one of the other ones to me, and I was very excited about. Obviously, they all sounded great, but that one in particular caught my interest because I write horror as well. So to me, it was a really cool one. Is that one of the ones that's in the contemporary space? Okay.
Yeah, so I have two, and they're both horror that are in the works right now, both kind of in the contemporary space, but of course, speculative elements because, horror.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's been fun to play with too. That's, I think, one of my favorite things about being in the sci-fi fantasy horror space is like you can kind of drift between those genres that are similar enough that there's a lot of crossover readership, but different enough that it's really fun and feels like playing in an entirely new sandbox as a writer. So that's been really, really fun.
Love that. I feel like it's our age group specifically. Like we grew up with so much unique and vast stuff, whether it's like you've got X-Men and Power Rangers, but you still know about Dracula and Goosebumps and all this stuff. It's like I think our brains were so scattered across every genre of fiction that like we're so down to just write in like every genre of fiction. At least I get that impression from what you're saying.
100%. So. Yeah.
Is there a genre you haven't written in yet that you would like to jump into?
Ooh. Honestly, I don't know. I would like to. Well, okay, it's not a genre, but it's a subgenre, and I would love to write a space opera someday.
Okay.
My Mass Effect loving self.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Would love to write a space opera someday. But it's one of those things where I don't know if you have any of these, but like I have some ideas, for stories or projects where I have like the seedling of an idea, but I can already tell that I am not like mature enough as a writer to pull it off yet. So I'm going to get some more stories under my belt and then maybe try to tackle a big sprawling space opera.
Okay. So far you have, even though they're not all released, you have 5 books that you've written. Are there any others that you've written that you just never released?
Yeah, I have actually 3 right now that are completed and with my agent.
Wow. Okay.
I know. I know they're making the rounds. We'll see. And then Killswitch Protocol, and then obviously Among Thieves and Thickest Thieves, which are out in the world. So this is one of the things that I'm really enjoying about stepping into the indie space is that, when you're solely a trad author, you have so little control over timing.
Oh, yeah.
And since I am never not writing, I just have built this backlog of projects that are just yet unreleased because they're still filtering through the submission and all of that process. So I'm really excited to start taking some of my projects. I do still plan to keep one foot in the trad market and take some of my projects that way, but I'm really excited to hand pick the projects that I think will perform pretty well in the indie market and start taking those out myself and just have a little more control over my release schedule.
Yeah, that is nice. I definitely appreciate that aspect because I've had to delay this book a couple times just with family and kids and all that. Things get a little busy, but I wish I had 4 books in the can like you did. That would make my life so much happier right now, but instead of scrambling to get one done. So
well, I am sure I'll be once now that I'm controlling releases, I'll be joining you in Scramble Land soon enough, I'm sure. Okay.
How do you clearly you are able to get so much done. How is your writing schedule? Do you structure it? Are you like just so aggressive that you just write all the time? How does that work now?
Yeah, so I do also have a full-time day job that I work. So fitting in writing time into small pockets has been the name of the game for me the whole time that I've been writing. I've always had a day job. So writing sprints are my savior.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah, what I'll do normally, and I'm in an editing phase right now, and editing is a little more wibbly wobbly. You know what I mean? Because it's like sometimes I'm basically writing all new stuff. Sometimes I'm pretty much just reading and tweaking. But like, let's say I'm drafting a new project, like first draft, just writing something new. I will do like 4-ish 15-minute sprints a day. So like try to do 1 in the morning, do a couple on my lunch break, and then 1 or 2 after work. And usually with that, so it's like an hour of writing time total, but sprinkled throughout the day. I can usually get like 1,200 words in those concentrated, because for anyone that hasn't used writing sprints before, maybe everybody that is watching this has, but in case you haven't,
I have not. I'm excited.
I would say it's pretty much you just set a timer and that you type actively for the entire time.
Interesting.
You're not pausing to research stuff. You're not pausing to create a new name for something. If this is how I sprint, at least. If like I need a name and I can't think of one immediately as I'm typing, everybody drink, there's another Zoom. I will just do like brackets and be like name, you know what I mean? And just to keep the momentum rolling. And don't look at your phone. Don't look at anything. You know what I mean? You're just literally writing concentrated burst of energy for 15 minutes. And then when the timer's off, now we Pomodoro method it, right? If you're going to do multiple sprints in a row, you take a beat, you take 5 minutes, and then you go back at it. Actually, super productivity hack. What I like to do on the weekends is I do alternating writing and cleaning sprints.
That's a good move.
So I'll do 15 minutes of writing, and then when the timer goes off, for 15 concentrated minutes, I'm cleaning something in my apartment. And then I go back in 15 minutes of writing. That is a really great life hack for anyone looking to organize your home and then write some stuff super fast.
Cool. No, that's a good idea. How did you get started with writing sprints? I'm guessing this wasn't always the way you had done it.
No. I used to like carve out most of a Saturday, every week if I could, and do most of my writing then. But then, life gets busy and I have plans on Saturday, or I'm sleepy and I want to sleep in on Saturday. I don't want to get up at 7 and write, But I actually got invited to a Discord server of a bunch of authors it's a sprint server. And so we have a sprint channel where it's like all the like Discord prompts. You can start a sprint, and then everybody in the channel gets a ping like, hey, there's a sprint going on. And so sometimes I sprint by myself in there, because a lot of times like most of the other people in that server are full-time authors, so like they'll be sprinting while I'm working.
Oh no.
I know, but sometimes our sprints align, and then you're like sprinting with a person. Like when I was doing the first draft of the book that I wrote, the first draft of last fall, Gabriela Romero La Cruz, author of Sun in the Void, she is in that sprint server, and we were both about at the same point in our drafting schedule and like word count wise, so we decided to race to 100,000 words.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
I love
And so
that. Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
just, it's very motivating. And like, that's how I got started on sprinting. It was like maybe 2 years ago I joined the sprint server. And yeah, it's unlocked a lot of stuff for me, in terms of productivity. So.
Okay. I love that. Yeah, I'm actually glad you mentioned that, simply because I desperately need something like that. So I will be using this tool.
100%. Yeah. That's like, I mean, I'm always talking to, people are like, oh, I don't have time to write. I don't have time to write, which like, I totally get it. Like, sometimes I don't have time to, sit down and like carve out 3 hours to really dig deep and crank out, 3,000 words in one sitting. But generally speaking, I can always find a couple of 15-minute little snippets.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what will work for me. So I will be updating you once I give it a shot.
Love it.
Complete non-segue. I want to jump back to something you mentioned earlier. Is you said it takes place in a future southern Georgia? Is that correct?
Yes.
What was the idea behind choosing that area of the world?
Yeah. So I knew I wanted it to be based in the United States, just given. It's, the United States is familiar, and there's a lot of kind of social commentary in this book. Whatever, if it's veiled, it's not preachy. Yeah. Don't worry.
No, you're good.
but I wanted to base it somewhere kind of familiar. But I also then did a ton of research on, climate change and the likelihood of, shifting sea levels and stuff. I wanted it to be on the coast. So yeah, Florida's gone in this world. I'm sorry.
Oh.
But yeah, I
the
mean,
hurricanes
just based
finally took it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. I did a lot of research about like the types of structures that would have to exist in the docks, because there are really intense hurricanes and stuff in this world as well, because there's these really extreme weather patterns and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is definitely the most research intensive book that I've done, which I'm guessing is going to be, it'll all be very behind the scenes, hopefully just like little details that the reader probably won't even notice, you know what I mean, as they're reading, because it's not central to the story. But you know how important those like set dressing features are to suspension of reality, right, or suspension of disbelief for the reader. So hopefully that kind of helps bring them in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited also because it's not your typical location like in LA or in New York or Seattle. Those tend to be like the three big ones for cyberpunk, or Canada, oddly enough. I feel like I see a lot. But yeah, that's awesome. Okay. How long did it take you to really feel that you had a good grasp on what this world looked like before? Like, did you have a bunch of it done before you started writing? Like, or were you really planning it out? Or was it like you just jumped right in and then started developing it as the story progressed? Yeah,
so this is probably one of the most planning intensive books that I've done since Among Thieves, which was very planning intense, with all the different, for that one, it was all the different competing heists that made it very planning intense. That was very plot heavy planning. This one has some plot heavy planning too. There is a heist in this too, because I can't help myself.
Yeah. Hey, you're good at writing it.
It's just a little, it's just a baby heist in the middle. But yeah, there was a lot of planning that went into beforehand for this one, in terms of, I did my standard character interviews, which I've talked about before on stuff. But if this is your first time seeing me, hi. How I build my characters is I will interview them, like I'll ask them 10 to 20 questions and then answer those questions in their voice. So I did a lot of that for all of my main characters, and did a lot of world building, because the city-state of New Averita is it is roughly, I envision it as a little larger than New York, and it's divided into basically boroughs, much like New York. And some of them are shiny and pretty and really, really, affluent. Some of them are less so. Some of them are like basically suburban hellscape. Like we get like all different kinds of little vignettes of this futuristic society, all crammed together in this big giant dome that is protecting the people inside from the nuclear radiation that is outside the dome.
Okay.
So yeah, just imagine a big old bubble.
Okay, and this
on the ground.
just around this like Georgia area, or like it covers a bigger part of the United States?
No, it just covers this city-state of New Everetta, and there's a couple other pockets that we hear about. They'll talk about other societies and stuff.
Okay.
So we know that New Everetta is not the only surviving pocket of humanity in the
that's what
world.
I was going to ask. Okay.
But it is isolated. It is on its own, surrounded by just like desert wasteland that is completely uninhabitable. On all sides except for the side that's ocean.
Okay, that's really cool. I love the idea of like these little bubbles throughout, the United States. Like there's, only so many, and I'm guessing the reader doesn't really get to know, which is cool. If you keep it vague, it gives you a lot of room. Is that intentional? Like, do you plan to write more books in these worlds?
I hope to. So that's I've already been asked by a couple of my early readers, like, please tell me there's going to be another book. Please tell me there's a sequel. It is designed as a standalone, but the ending is ambiguous. So I've left myself room if readers are interested, if enough folks are looking for it. I would love to write more stories in this world and following these characters.
Okay, cool. I was wondering if the sequel would be with some of these same characters, or if it would be like, nope, we're going to a whole new bubble. So
yeah, well, theoretically, I could do any of the above, right? We could do like a kind of what is it, like expanded universe kind of vibe where I could do multiple approaches. So yeah, hey, if people really like it, I could write in this. I did a lot of world building and a lot of research to create this world, so I could write here for a long time if people want it.
Did you use the printed version of your storyboarding book that you released?
Or
do you have
I think so. This one predates that. So I did the first draft and like the ideation and outlining in first draft of Killswitch Protocol I did the first draft, I think, before Among Thieves came out. So like 5 years ago. Yeah, a long time ago. It's crazy. Been a long time. Now I've completely, gutted it and rewritten it since then. It's very different to the version that existed then. But yeah, I'm trying to think if I don't have one. Oh, I do.
I was hoping if it's what I think it is, I was hoping you have one. Yeah. Okay.
So this is also a thing that I have. So it's my Ultimate SF Story Bible, which has like just a bunch of information about plotting. And here's the character interview that I do. I actually had to check before I showed it on camera because I do use these genuinely now when I'm planning new stories. I have a bunch of them laying around. But yeah, so Killswitch Protocol, when I outlined it, I guarantee you I used this same process, but it just lived in a OneNote document on my computer instead of in this very pretty journal, which actually this cover design is also done by Adrian M. Gibson.
So, oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so he did all the typography and all of this. So yeah.
I will very emphatically endorse that book because I have one. I think I had you sign mine at Worldcon, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Because I've been using it constantly. I bought one to support you, and then I had it with me at a con, and I'm looking through it. I'm like, oh, this is super useful. So for my last book, Tortured Kingdom, I did like those character interviews and a bunch of stuff. And then my newest book, there's a part where the character ends up in this like abandoned mall on this resort, and I drew the map of the mall in the like dotted section that you have in that book for drawing. I just was like
amazing.
Doing little, Tetris-y sketches.
I have a bunch of like bullet journal style pages at the back. Exactly for stuff like that. And there's trackers so you can track your progress and stuff too. I'm so glad you find it helpful. That's why I put this together, honestly. Was because I was like, okay, I have this really in-depth process that I use that I've battle tested right through like writing a bunch of stuff. Maybe it can help somebody. I don't know. And so, just me and Canva and a dream. I made all the internal pages and and put it up on Amazon, and It's, what's funny is I also, when I do like table events, I'll bring copies of this. My biggest customer at table events is Dungeons and Dragons DMs.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
It's a
which
very
I
good
had not
companion for
thought
that.
about, but I'm like, dang, this. So yeah, if you're a DM and you're looking to plan a campaign,
You need to do a
could
reskin of
could
the
work.
cover and like change a couple things to be like for a DMing thing, and then
Yeah, right. And
because
then like
it's perfect
remarket
for
it
it.
out there. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
maybe.
perfect
Maybe
for
that's
it.
the next. Maybe that's my next indie pub project after Killswitch.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, and people can find it on Amazon. That's the best place to get it.
Yes, yep, it's available on. Actually, that one is available exclusively on Amazon,
Okay.
because I did not buy my own ISBNs for
Oh,
that one.
okay. Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it works very well. I use it all the time. There was I love the dotted maps. That was like a huge feature for me. And then the other thing in there that I thought was actually the most helpful was that you did different story methods, like how people
Yeah.
tell a story from beginning to end, and then you use a very easy analogy of Star Wars and how you can use like the story circle or all these different methods.
Yes, we've got all of
Yeah.
them, and then space to brainstorm it out yourself. Hero's journey. Yeah, because that's the thing is it's like I'm a big plotter. I like to plot and outline my stuff, but it's people are like, oh, well, which plotting method do you use? And it's different for every book, right? Like I feel
Hmm.
like every book is kind of its own little monster. And sometimes I usually most common one that I use is the 7-point story structure.
Okay.
But there have been some where like Fichtean Curve is the one that works for me. You know what I mean? There have
Okay.
been some.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the ones I did recently, I just did the straight up plot pyramid that we all remember from ninth grade English class, because like I just really wanted a little more freedom to almost pants a lot of the sections when I was drafting.
Hmm.
So yeah, hopefully having all of the methods in there will help folks that are like, no, this method isn't really working for this story, and
Yeah. No, it's a great book. So if you have Amazon and you need help, if you're a first time author, you're trying to finish something, or if you're trying to finish your next project, I would highly recommend. So definitely grab one of those. I'm probably going to grab mine because I've been kind of stalling out on my recent book. So
Right. Well, that's another piece too, is that it's like there's prompts in there. So I feel like sometimes when I'm stuck, like especially with the character interviews, it's like, okay, I'm stuck. I'm ideating a new project. Okay, this is like literally asking me questions, so it's not a blank page, and I can
yeah.
just answer them, which sometimes is a little less intimidating than staring at the cursor as it blinks.
Yeah. Oh man, the blank page. That's the toughest one for sure.
100%.
So you had mentioned with this book, putting it together, that you wrote it a long time ago and then you gutted it and changed it. How much changed from that initial version to this version?
I'd say the bones of it stayed the same, right? Like the arc of the story is largely unchanged from that first version. I would say the characters have been they're more nuanced than they were. Basically, I am an older, more like I don't know, jaded and
Oh,
cynical human than I was when I first wrote it. It's I say that this book is my scream into the void, my anti-capitalist, anti-fascist scream into the void. Is kind of what
okay.
this project is. So a lot of the rewrite was taking into account just like worldview stuff and some nuance, some complicated pieces of the puzzle that these characters I really feel like would have to navigate in this society where these specific challenges are present. One of the biggest challenges of the world that they're living in is overpopulation, which is the reason behind the Ascent Protocol, Killswitch Protocol, as the main characters end up calling it, throughout the story. They live inside this very finite amount of space in a bubble that they cannot leave, because if they do, they will die. So we need a way to control the population. Okay, we have this algorithm that is going to control the population. Well, in a world where that's the case and we have all these space constraints, now we got to figure out like, okay, how are they getting food? How are they growing food? They don't have space for all these big fields, and you know what I mean? Like,
Oh
how
yeah.
are we
Yeah.
producing those kinds of things? So a lot of those kind of more nuanced world building elements and character details really kind of came into fruition as I was drafting the later iterations of the project.
Okay, so how do they end up getting? I mean, are they eating a lot of like, I don't know, Soylent Green / like smoothie type stuff because they can't grow a lot of produce, or like what is their method of being able to get enough food for people?
Yeah, so there's these, I call them grow domes, where
Okay.
it is kind of a lot of vertical farming, right, inside of these like habitat, like big spherical, I guess not spherical, half spherical shaped structures in a few of the kind of burrows, right, that they'll have these kind of grow domes. And then there's also a lot of synthetic, like lab grown meats and things like that. So basically most of the less affluent people eat mostly synthetic foods, and your wealthier people are the only ones that can afford the very limited amounts of actual poultry and meat and real vegetables and things like that. So that is kind of how it all came around there.
Okay, interesting. That you mentioned poultry, super random segue. Have you heard of a comic called Chew?
No.
I think you'd like it. It's kind of comedic, and it involves the idea that chicken is outlawed. Like chicken, the food is outlawed because of like this major like food outbreak issue, and there's all kinds of other zaniness, but I think you'd really like it. Just
Chew,
random.
like CHEW?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to look that up. I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah, it's really funny. I'm sure you can find the first one at like a used bookstore because it was really popular, and then it was getting all this attention, then it kind of just petered off. It was really good. So I won't distract too much from your stuff, but I recommend Chew.
No, I
to you.
love a good recommendation. I will check it out.
I think I was like, I know I have. Oh yeah, I've got a couple of them up right there. Okay.
Oh, okay, so it's kind of skinny. I know, isn't it funny? Anytime I try to
Yeah.
point on anything behind me, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. The best part is it zoomed into right behind your ear is your book.
It's
your
mine, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Let's zoom out.
Well, with the zoom, I had to get a sip of raspberry
Yeah, you had to take a
iced
drink.
tea for the working man, you know? So. Oh, man. Interesting with the idea of the vertical growing. That was actually the first thought I had in mind, because if you're stuck in this dome, is there now, obviously for the rich people, sorry, I'm like a food obsessed person. I watch too much Gordon Ramsay. So like if they want beef or poultry, do they even have access to beef for like the super rich people? Like a very limited?
They do,
like
but it's just for the super rich people because it's very, very limited. So there's basically there's the richest of all the boroughs, basically, is where Raina Arthur, one of our main characters, lives as one of the members of the board. So we get to see she lives in the richest part. So at the very beginning of the story, we have Raina living basically the luxury life with a dark side, though. You know, there's a dark side to that piece, but you know, she's still our like billionaire character, so you can't feel too bad for her. And then we have Sinya Raimi, and she lives in the most impoverished of all of the areas. And then we have Liv Spencer at the beginning, lives in this kind of like, I envision it as like a, I don't know, very Stepford vibes, where it's just a bunch. It's the closest they get to the burbs, but it's just townhomes, boom, 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 all lined up. So she's kind of in the middle, right? She lives kind of in this middle space. So we kind of get to see the entire class divide, right, between all the different folks that are living in this utopia, right? This dystopia that they're living in.
So it seems as if, is society very controlled to the point where it's almost like a caste system, or is there flexibility economically if you do something to be able to break through?
Yeah, so there's flexibility, right? It's kind of like our world, though, right? Like reality, where there's flexibility. It's just far less likely that you'll reach heights depending on where you come from. And also, as we discover as the story goes on, the brighter your star burns, the more likely that you will reach ascent earlier, which in the beginning of the book, the very first chapter of the book actually is an ascent ceremony where we see this kill switch in action. and we see it being celebrated because the person reaching ascent is so young. And how impressive is that? How incredible that he's so young and he already reached ascent. Wow, amazing. Right. So, and, you know, of course, as our characters get wise to what this kill switch actually is, it has some darker undertones too, trying to escape your assigned class, you know, wherever you are born into.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. If you hit if you're like Guns N' Roses and you get all your good songs out in the first album, you know, you're just you're done.
The algorithm will be like, okay, you're good.
Yeah. No Use Your Illusion album. Gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And it opens with one of the ceremonies. I'm fascinated by the idea of the cult aspect to it. Is there any type of doctrine or like religious-y text that they use, or is it very much more like here's your employee handbook that becomes your North Star in life?
Yeah. So funny you say that. What a perfect way to frame. We didn't even plan this question. So every
I didn't
single
plan anything.
chapter,
I just went right in.
we're just vibing. Every single chapter begins with an excerpt from the Handbook of Lucre. Which is a quasi-religious text, and it is written kind of in a religious way, but I also tried my best. So in my day job, I work in like corporate marketing. So I tried to pull out my best LinkedIn influencer.
Yes. Okay.
And we've got some very corpo speak.
Oh, I'm familiar. So my wife is corporate marketing. So I'm
so
familiar with the language. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got kind of a nice mix between corporate cult and blending into because it's not like they're worshiping a god. They're basically worshiping this algorithm. And the creator of it, this man named Lucre, right, who had created the algorithm hundreds of years ago. So that is kind of how that all comes to be. So yeah, if you read the little snippets that are in the beginning of each chapter, you don't have to read them to understand the book. But if you do read them, each snippet kind of reflects what is happening or going to happen in the scene or the chapter that it precedes. So little extra wink into the world.
So what's the over-under on acronyms then if you're speaking corporate marketing?
There's actually not a ton of acronyms because I wanted to make it so people could understand.
Yeah. No, for like a reader's perspective, it's bad, but real life.
Dude, every single marketing job I've ever started, my first week on the job is just like Googling acronyms because every company uses slightly different ones.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. You got to know before you jump in the Slack channel. So
yeah.
Are you on Slack for work or are you guys on Teams?
Yeah, I'm on Slack. I'm very familiar with that little noise.
You're lucky that you're on Slack. My wife switched to Teams and it is not
is it worse?
As good. Way. It's not even close to Slack. She's like, it's like jumping back in time 5 years.
Wow. I'm glad that I'm on Slack then. Because yeah, I've been all of the companies I've ever worked for in marketing have all been Slack companies.
Oh yeah.
So I'm a lucky girl, I guess.
Yeah. It's like Discord for business, but like a little more
like
robust.
Literally though, it is pretty much like Discord. You're right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Super easy to use. Oh man, I'm okay. So like I said, I didn't plan anything. The main reason I wanted to do this interview is when I saw your book come out, you know, we're buddies, and I just was so fascinated by it that I just had a bunch of questions about the book. So we've talked about the eating. We've talked about this Lucre and that book, which I said that correctly. A book. Okay. That is a really, really cool element. Are so interesting. Are there any other doctrines, or is that just the main one that everybody felt like there's just kind of the one? Okay. Yep. I didn't know if there's any little like subsets or factions. Okay.
I mean, technically there is a faction that is our main characters are in, which they are, I mean, basically they're living off the grid because there is no descent possible on the grid because of this algorithm. Basically, okay, so in true cyberpunk fashion, every baby has a chip implanted in their skull, right? As we do in cyberpunk.
As we do, yeah.
And that chip is how you access your money, how you unlock your home, it's how you communicate with people. It is literally everything. It is integral to society and functioning within the society. but the chip is also linked up to this algorithm that decides when it's your time to go.
Okay, and then you just like get you choose like, oh, I got to go show up at office B to go get set up with my send off. So.
Well, I won't spoil exactly how that happens. But yeah, it's very and there's a lot of other dystopian elements. Again, population control being such an important factor, and then of course with recent political climate and stuff, a lot of things were very top of mind. So reproduction and how that process works became it's not central to the story, but it became a feature in the later edits. Because how do we decide who gets to have babies? In this world where we're so tightly controlling the population and where we have such medical control over the entire population. So that is something that is explored in the story as well.
Okay. And then I'm guessing obviously this rebellion, they're doing their thing. Do they have any type of are they more religious rather than as technocratic or whatever? Like where does their sort of star align being outside the grid?
They are led by this guy called Torin Calix, who's another one of our main characters. We only have our 3 POV characters, which are the 3 that are featured on the cover. But Torin is another one of our main characters in the story. He is the leader of this rebellion. It's not necessarily religious, but I guess perhaps slightly religious in that his group is kind of a cult-like following of him.
Okay.
And another very important thing I wanted to explore in this book is the complexity of a rebellion in a society that is this tightly controlled with a population that is this brainwashed. So I don't want to spoil anything.
That's okay. I get it.
But the rebellion, it's not, things aren't as simple as they seem, and there's some complications that arise with regard to this rebellion and the things that they believe as well.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I feel like that's a really great point to end on because it's right on topic with your book and it gets people excited. So if you could remind me again what day it comes out, where people can find it, how can they get a hold of it?
Yeah, so it comes out July 7th of 2026, so July 7th of this year. You can pre-order it now. And I think it's definitely up for pre-order in audiobook, ebook, and paperback right now. It should be available for pre-order in hardcover soon. But it's releasing in all formats on the 7th of July, and you can buy it pretty much anywhere books are sold. So definitely Amazon. But if you want to order it from a local bookstore, you can ask your local bookstore or library to order it, and they should be able to. So.
Oh, really? Okay, so do they just get it through Ingram Spark, or which service do they use?
Yep, yeah. So I'm going through this one. I did buy my own ISBNs, so I can. It's going through Ingram Spark and Amazon. So yes, it's available for purchase on Amazon. But if you wanted to get a physical copy and support your own local indie bookstore, you can request for them to order it. So
okay, fantastic. And then what's the best social website? Where can people find you for updates?
Yeah, so you can. I'm mostly on Instagram these days, so I'm at MJ Kuhn Books, all one word on there. You can also follow the podcast SFF Addicts Pod on Instagram, and you can go to my website mjkuhn.com.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you again for being on the show, and I will see you as soon as you have a new book released, which I'm sure will be just as exciting and intriguing to me as this one, because again, the cover, the blurb, all of it totally caught my attention. I was like, I gotta have MJ on and chat about this book. So
absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It's been super fun to chat.
Yeah, same. I'll see you soon.